Hey everybody, welcome to the Tuesday show. My name is Ultra David.
I'm James Chen. How's everybody going?
It's been a little while, and I understand. I've been traveling like craziness. The last 2 weeks, I had one day at home, and that day was spent, I had to do work. I had
laundry.
I had to do laundry. I had some other errands, so I've just been really busy and not around in a really long time. So now I'm back, and that means that we can do the show again. So sorry that I just haven't been around. But...
No problem. I mean, and the funny thing is, these last 3 weeks, I feel like there's just been so much stuff happening too. So
it was a pretty inopportune time to not be around, frankly. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't finished the Injustice stuff, right? We haven't finished going over all the characters. I wanted to go do some Melee stuff as well, which we haven't had a chance to. So I've been working with some of the Melee members of the community to try to arrange stuff. So we have a lot of stuff that's coming up. Hopefully we'll get to soon.
I hope so. I mean, we just have a big backlog now. The YouTube channel has been totally neglected for forever now. Oh, there's a lot of work to be done, but we'll get on all that stuff. So anyway, thanks for joining us for UltraChenTV today. As we said, a ton of stuff to talk about, but I'd like to talk about a couple of things that happened in just the most recent couple of weeks, the tournaments, that is.
Yeah, I mean, we had Coast Throwdown 5 and UFGT 9. UFGT 9, of course, a Road to Evo event, East Coast Throwdown, just a ton of crazy stuff happening in there.
Big tournament, yeah, definitely.
So...
the thing about, before I get into what the actual results were, I think that the coolest thing about these two tournaments to me, and not just these two tournaments, but it's been the last few as well, NCR had the same issue, or had the same phenomenon, of kind of new top players joining in, and not necessarily joining in, people who have been around for a long time, in some cases, but have really stepped their game up, or who have been able to showcase how good they are for the first time, or who have kind of come from nowhere as far as the greater world of fighting games is concerned. So at UFGT, let's see, in Street Fighter 4, absolutely no surprise, but almost kind of in that same way, is Alex Valle got first place in Street Fighter 4.
That was really cool. I was super happy about that.
Me too.
It's been a long time, right?
That's what I'm saying. He's definitely not some new guy at all.
Yeah, right.
He was and is one of the greatest players that we've ever had in fighting games. But it's been a while, so it's great to see that he's kind of on the uptick as well. So he wins. Wolf Crone seems like he's kind of back because he got second place.
Right.
CJ Truth is still in high school, and his mom still takes him to tournaments, and he got third place.
She was cheering him on.
Actually, he had a bunch of family in Chicago, and his family was all there cheering him on. Yeah, it was a blast.
So Vi, in other words, spoiled the whole family thing for him.
Kind of, so, kind of. Mike Ross got fourth place.
No
cute joke.
Yeah, exactly.
Joke about Mike Ross. Alucard got fifth place. That was awesome because he is so good.
It was awesome seeing him do that.
His Evil Ryu is amazing, but his Boxer is. Look, I think Boxer is one of the most boring characters in Street Fighter 4, and I always have. But the way that he plays that character is so cool to me.
It's exciting.
It was exciting. He does stuff that you don't see other boxers do. You know how people neutral jump against Boxer all the time?
Yeah.
He just does kick rush.
You know what the funniest thing about it was, too? I was driving home while Alucard was playing, and you and Ski Sonic were doing commentary at the time. I couldn't watch. I literally had the phone in my pocket, here, and I just I was listening to it, and I could hear all that stuff going on. I was getting all hype about it.
Really?
We were kick rush! Oh, because I could just picture the guy neutral jump, Chris G neutral jumping with Sakura, and him kick rushing him out of the air. I don't know. I just it was really awesome.
I'll take it.
I had this really good imagery of the whole event, so that was really cool.
Flash got fifth with Gen. Arturo got seventh with Dalsum and Rose, and Chris G seventh with Sakura. He had just a ridiculous weekend.
Yeah,
he got top 8 in that game and in Cross Tekken, and he won. No, he won.
Didn't he win Cross Tekken?
Yeah, he won Cross Tekken.
He won
Injustice, and
of course
there's
he won
a game called Marvel as well that he did well in. Yeah, so speaking of Marvel, he won that. Another guy who has become a major top player, Ron Masama, got second place.
Dude, he got second.
At NCR, he was up there.
Yeah. So this guy, yeah, he's definitely getting in there, getting into the equation.
Yeah, like he's definitely a player now who you have to kind of expect. Unknown got third place. He got second at Civil War, but it's kind of a smaller thing.
Right.
So for him to get third place here is awesome. Cane Blue River, he was good in Chile, and I remember.
Actually, can you go to the chat? Are people saying that we froze or anything like that?
Oh, really?
Are we okay there? Oh,
okay.
Now we're back a little bit. It's like.
Oh yeah, dude, the video died.
The video died?
Yeah, but it's back now.
Oh, okay. Cool. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, we'll always suck. So.
Well, I mean, we were in danger of having the whole stream just shut down on us. Just warning people, because Anyways, I won't bother explaining it.
So Cane Blue River got fourth place here. He got top 8 at NCR as well.
Yeah, so Cane Blue River definitely in the mix for dangerous player in Marvel as well.
Yeah, he's again like not exactly a new player. He's not a new player, but he's gone from being like a player who you think is pretty good to being.
He was a perennial underdog. Right?
Yeah, he was definitely an underdog. Now. Look, he's not.
Well, you know what the funniest thing is? Between him and Ramasama, because Ramasama uses Hager as well, right? So Hager is just has just propelled himself into extreme powerful point character.
Hager's a good character. He's a good point character. His assist is still useful. He's really good. DJ Hoshin got 5th, which is really cool. OMG, it's Andre also 5th. Unfortunately, Andre had a chance to get into winners finals. He was in winners semis.
Right.
In winners finals, I forget what the exact sequence was,
right.
But he should have won or almost won, and it was this heartbreaking moment.
I remember seeing the footage of him with his head buried in his hands after the match was over, and it's like he just couldn't, he was just so heartbroken. It was actually, it was painful to watch. I'm not gonna lie.
Viscant got 7th place. Which is interesting because a lot of the time he was just playing the Wesker Hager Phoenix team, the team that he won 2011 Evo with, that he has said in public that he doesn't think is that great a team. But he doesn't think that Wesker is this top tier, viable enough character to win tournaments sort of character. And he didn't win the tournament, but he got farther with that than he did with his Zero Derm Virgil or Zero Doom Phoenix.
The thing about it is that team is not a great team, but it's great for him.
And
he's
great.
A smart player. So that's the thing is even though he's been trying to pick a top tier with going these Zero teams, I feel like his success is going to be way better with this Hager team, with the Wesker Hager Phoenix team, because it's just suited to his gameplay style. So
hey, there were 3 Weskers in top 8.
There you go.
So he's still a good point character. In Cross Tekken, which I had a blast watching, Chris G won, like we said. Second place was Cool Kid, who is from the area and from Chicago, I believe. And he plays Cody Rufus, and he was the number 1 ranked Cody in Street Fighter 4 Online.
Okay.
And in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, he is one of the top. He has over 40,000 BP. So his Cody Bob was giving people a lot of problems.
That's awesome.
People didn't know Bob. He had some tricks though that even if you know Cody and Bob as characters, you still kind of think that these are some innovative little tricks, little corpse hopses, little cool things like that, resets that were cool. Right. That was awesome. CJ Truth, again, top 3 in this game as well, to build on the whole up-and-comer sort of thing. Alex Via, 4th place.
It's cool to see Flo getting 5th place, and AGE Saber as well getting 5th place.
Dude, that's awesome to me, too. Yeah, Saber is so good in that game.
And, dude, it's so funny, because, if you look at that, outside of the top 3 right there, who are all kind of newer players, Christie's not new, but he's still...
he became awesome in, the last few years.
Right.
Yeah.
But look at the list after that. Vi, Flo, Saber, Sabin is
Arturo,
in there.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like the old school fighting game players' haven right there.
It kind of is. It kind of is that game. That's one of the things I like about it, is that it's the old school players' game, but also it's very new school.
Yeah.
So you have people like Cool Kid getting up there, and CJ Truth, and Wolf Crone is not old school, but he's been around for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Injustice.
So
I still haven't gotten to see it, and I guess we'll get to that, but I really want to see the archives.
But the thing is, like, isn't Injustice... I don't know how many of the top 8 are testers, but so far, the testers have been dominating all of the tournaments so far.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it in this one. I mean, I don't remember who all the testers were, but I know Chris was one, I know Arturo was one. I think that's it among those lists, but I'm probably wrong. I just don't know who all the testers were.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like it's just going to be going, is people saying the stuff that's... The stream is bad right now. Is the stream okay? Anyway, but yeah, I mean, it just sounds like it was a lot of the testers are winning right now. So, I mean, I don't know. Do you consider this a problem, or do you think by the time we get to EVO that this is not going to be the case anymore?
The testers thing is the non-issue in my mind.
Okay.
They were not given that long. The longest one was like a week and a half. A lot of the other ones were less than that, and it was with a version of the game that was like many versions ago.
Mm-hmm.
They were picked because they're really good players.
Yeah.
That's why they were picked to go there. Okay, that's the whole reason. So it's no surprise that they do well because they're good.
Right.
Okay, their knowledge advantage at this point should be gone. If you care enough to play that game well, enough to try to get top 8 or to win a tournament, you must have by now surpassed whatever barrier was there before in terms of knowledge. So at this point, it's just up to you. It's just, are you good? A lot of testers were good, but that's why they were testers. So.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of it, despite the fact that I've been like engrossing myself in everything Injustice recently. I've been playing that a lot online. I've just been having a great time with that game. So I didn't get a chance to watch it. Obviously, it was on at odd hours.
Well, I was awake because I was doing Street Fighter Cross Tekken top 8.
Right.
So
yeah, but I mean, for you it's a different time zone. So for me, it was even earlier, and there was just, you know me, there's no way I'm getting myself up at that time to watch it. So because that's just
it would have been tough for me too. Yeah, absolutely. So
hey, Chris, you did it for Cross Tekken that one tournament.
I did wake up at like 6 o'clock for Cross Tekken one time. Yeah,
which
that's
is basically
that's
what I would have had to do. So
that's true.
Yeah.
So anyway, Chris G wins with Green Arrow. Wound Cowboy gets second with Sinestro, which is sick because he just got buffed, that character, earlier this week. And I remember before that thinking that he wasn't good. And the buffs are like reasonably good. He can charge straight better. I think it's a pretty big deal. But
I mean, do you want to get into like some of the side topics outside of the tournament while we're kind of on the subjects and stuff?
Nah, let's do that after the break. We'll split it up. Arturo gets third with Green Lantern, slips with Deathstroke, Forever King with Batman and Raven, Godspeed.
It's nice to see Deathstroke's up there, right there, because he was one of those characters that everyone thought was reactionarily nerfed.
Yes.
So the fact that he still got top 4 with a lot of really good players is very important.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Aquaman, Dizzy with Aquaman, and Alucard with Ares, which is awesome too. Not exactly a top tier character there. So really interesting finals. King of Fighters, Reynolds won, Romance, Mario. Yeah, Kane Blue River got 4th.
Yeah, no
that's not really that big a surprise. I think that. I mean, I'm like not really following or very knowledgeable in most of the other games, but I did see that in Persona, Banana Ken won.
Dude, I thought he stopped playing fighting games.
Yeah, well, I talked to him about that a little bit. He said that he was focusing on school, as it should be.
Right.
So the end of the semester is done. I mean, he's getting his PhD, so it's like not exactly ever done. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, he has been playing more, and he entered Cross Tekken, and he entered Persona.
Hey, good stuff to have him back in the things.
I mean,
winning Persona
with the character that I think is the most interesting one. So again, I can't wait.
With an instant kill.
Yeah, I can't wait to check out those archives either. I haven't gotten a chance to do that.
What did he get? I mean, how
you can combo into it with Shadow Lapis.
Oh, really? Oh, gotcha. Good stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, that was cool. The Divekick top 16 was Sanchez. Ooh, it says Sanchez. It's Sanchez with kick and dive. Chris G with dive. Programmer with kick. Banana Can with Mr. N. Ronaldo with redacted. King of Bums with Jafali. And Saber with Kung Pao. Jafali.
Nice. Yeah. You know what?
That character looked good.
When I played at NCR, I didn't think Jafali looked bad at all. I actually thought he was pretty... I started to like him because he jumps higher when his head gets bigger, so I feel like he does gain some power. So.
He's definitely... His mobility is better the bigger his head gets. It's just that if you are on the offense as Jafali when you're at like 3 or 4, head sizes, then you're good.
Yeah.
But if you're on the defensive, then you're totally screwed.
Yeah.
You know, so it was interesting. No surprise again. I think that kick, dive got all top 3 spots.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because
they're just the easy
standard
ones.
casters. Yeah. I mean, as people keep playing, it's not going to be like that. Now, did anybody use Seth in the tournament? Or
no, and a lot of people didn't try him at all. The people who were trying to win that I've talked with didn't try any of the crazy ones.
Okay.
Really, I mean,
that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Though. Yeah.
So, but I guess we should get to talking about whatever other crap. So let's take a break, and then we'll be back and get into that.
All right.
Before we get on to topics that are totally important that we talk about for real, let's talk about ECT a little bit.
Actually, before we get to ECT, I have to make mention of one thing.
Okay, what?
Lethal League was the bomb. I was watching, so that was the grand final game for the mystery tournament, and I think it's just a flash game on there, on the web. But whatever it was seriously, like, I was watching it, and I burst out laughing a couple of times. Like, literally just started just cracking up because of how, like, crazy hype and amazing that game was. So, I mean, dude, that thing was so good. Like, you didn't get to see any of it, right? Did you even know what the game is or anything?
I mean, I've heard a ton about it since that happened, but
yeah, it was so good. I mean, dude, Lethal League is serious business.
Okay.
Serious business here.
Okay.
Serious business. So, but anyways,
yeah. Justin won Street Fighter 4. Gridman got second place. Congrats to Gridman.
Yeah, he was a long-term player. I mean, he was a very prominent T-Hawk player in the HDR community.
Yep, he was.
And ST community. So.
And actually, in earlier Street Fighter 4, he was a prominent T-Hawk and then a prominent Oni.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, although he's dropped Oni apparently. He did use Hawk a couple times in the tournament, including in finals, but didn't work out.
Right.
But yeah, good job to him. The other people are pretty much normal suspects. PR Rog, Chris G, Wolf Crone, Weirdo Neo. I mean, whenever he travels,
he
does really well.
Ricky Ortiz
exactly. Yeah. In Marvel, Flocker won a tournament.
So Zero, more importantly, Zero
yes.
has finally won a tournament.
Yes.
And you know, the worst thing about it too is everyone's like, "Oh, why if Zero's so good? How come he hasn't won a major?" Really, the answer is Chris G. That's just the answer. Like, we should just excise Chris G from the results to really see where all of the characters stand.
You think it should be like, why didn't the Utah Jazz win a championship? Because
the New York Knicks, why didn't they win a championship?
It just happened to be that the Chicago Bulls were like amazing at the time.
Yes, that's kind of how I feel. Like, I feel like if it wasn't for Chris G, Zero would have won at least like 4 or 5 tournaments by now. Honestly. So, but yeah.
Okay. Chris G got second place there. Justin Wong, Filipino champ, Flux. Good job to Flux. He's another one of these players who has become really super good.
Unknown, we talked about.
Unknown was in there.
Yeah, of course, let's not skip PR Balrog, who got tied for 5th place as well. So, but it's actually, it was really cool. I mean, I don't know, a lot of people haven't really made a big deal out of it that Chris G finally lost in a game, and I think that was actually super exciting, because it, breathed a little life into it, but, of course, then he just went next week and then just bodied everybody again, next tournament, so...
That's true.
We'll see how that goes, but it definitely shows that he is beatable.
Oh, yeah, he's a human person.
Yeah.
He's just really good.
Yeah, so, it'll be really interesting to see, how Chris G does at EVO if he goes. if he
Arturo
goes.
won Cross Tekken, and Knuckle Dude got second place, which I think is the second time in a row that happened, because it happened at Civil War.
Oh, yeah,
so
right,
shout outs to those guys, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Justin Wong, Dragon God, really good, wish he could travel more. Ricky Ortiz, Jan, Zangief, and Jack. I think Jan got top 8 on Cross Tekken in Texas Showdown, too, didn't he? If I recall correctly. Flo was in there, PR Rog was in there. Good job to them. Tom Brady won that tournament in Injustice with Aquaman.
So this was the crazy tester tournament.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Rio, Chris G, CD Jr. Let's see.
Dragon God was in there.
Yeah, Insane. Well, let's see.
Yeah,
the characters that won that tournament are really interesting. Aquaman, Batman, Nightwing, Black Adam, Green Arrow, Black Adam,
this
Batman.
was right before
Superman,
the
Doomsday,
patch,
Black Adam,
wasn't it?
Aquaman.
Was this
Just
before the patch? Or
it was before the patch.
Yeah, so that was
and
before
now,
the patch. And then...
and it's totally different now. Let's see, just like a week, 2 weeks later. Green Arrow, Sinestro, Green Lantern, Deathstroke, Batman, Raven, Black Adam, Aquaman, Ares.
Yeah.
What is there? One repeat character?
Dude, Alucard doing that, getting that high with Ares is really impressive because Ares is not a very much played character.
Yeah.
And he's
and he got nerfed a little bit too.
Yeah, he did. So. He did. Well, he got a decent wake up now.
Yeah.
And
I heard that wasn't that great.
I played against. Well, okay, I suck against teleports. Like.
That's
true. You play Marvel, you teleport against me, I die, right? So, I played P. Gorath a couple of days ago, and it was just my Catwoman versus his Ares, like, constantly. And, you know, it was weird. At first, it seemed like I couldn't do anything, and then all of a sudden it felt like, no, wait, Catwoman blows him up. And then it kind of went back down, and then it kind of, like, evened out. It was kind of interesting, but I don't think Ares is a horrible character, but I think he might just work decently against Catwoman, but... I feel like, well, we'll get into Injustice stuff a little bit more. Later,
yeah, we will. As far as ECT goes, anything else that you want to talk about? JDCR won it, which is cool. Fab got second place.
Yeah, I mean, that was part of the ongoing series of Tekken tournaments, right, on the East Coast. What was it called? Iron Fist, I think it was. To
be honest, I have no idea.
But yeah, no, I mean...
Sorry.
ECT, just from what I can tell, you know what it feels like to me for ECT is that the whole left behind by Seasons Beatings has kind of transferred itself to ECT.
Really?
Yeah, because Seasons Beatings I always felt like was the hype tournament, you know, where it just went crazy and everybody went nuts, and it felt like kind of almost like Final Roundish a little bit, like where it feels definitely more grassroots than a lot of the other events. Seasons Beatings going away was a shame because I always felt like Seasons Beating was like one of the most hyped tournaments ever, and I felt like that lived on in ECT. One of the things that we probably should mention was just how good was that Cane Blue River versus was it Fuglat that he played?
Oh, the first 15 that they played? That was really good set.
That went to the last game. Yeah, that and was faster than like most like first of three.
It was pretty fast. Yeah, I mean that's that match though. It's a crazy match.
That thing was so good. So yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's it as far as the tournaments go. Romance won again. Cane Blue River was up there.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Let's talk about other stuff. What's going on, James?
What's going on? Well, dude, there's a lot of things that are going on, right? I mean, do we want to get into... Let's go back in time a little bit.
Back in time.
Yeah, and talk about
thousands of years ago.
Back before when they were dinosaurs. No. What I want to talk about was a couple of weeks ago announced from Arxis was Guilty Gear Xrd. And that blew my mind. Like, I did not see
You didn't expect it?
I was not expecting it at all. Like, I had no clue that any new Guilty Gear was coming out. And then it came out, and I'm sitting here watching this video. I'm like, this is really interesting. Okay, cool. This looks cool. Like, it looks like they redrew the sprites a little bit and everything like that. And then they did this crazy 3D panning thing, and I was like, wait. And then, like, even after they did that pan, I still didn't believe it was 3D. Like, I felt like they did that little cool effect just for a trailer or something.
Really?
Because the animation, like, they don't interpolate all the in-between frames.
Yeah.
Like, when you saw Soul do his little thumbs down thing, it was like, his arm is here, then his arm is out here, you know, like, instantly. So they emulated that 2D look so convincingly that it took me, like, a couple of watches, even though it's, like, super obvious that the game's in 3D. They even have Unreal Engine, you know, in there. But, like, to me, it was just so exciting to see it that way. And I think it's kind of funny, too, because I've never considered Guilty Gear one of the better animated games, right? Like, you compare...
Really?
Yeah, you compare it to something like Third Strike.
Oh, okay, yeah.
A lot of those games, right? A lot of the like, the art style, don't get me wrong, is awesome.
Yeah.
But the animation is just like, okay, I'm just going to throw out Soul Jumping Slash, and you know what? I'm just going to draw this giant arc, like a flash kick. You know, that simulates the movement, right? Guilty Gear is not necessarily one of the best animated games.
Okay.
But the funny thing is, by preserving that, like, it's become a style choice, and now I just think it looks fantastic. Like, I just love the fact that they preserved that, and I just think the game looks like... I'm super excited for it.
I know,
like,
I can tell, yeah. I'm happy for everybody who cares. I think that's awesome. I mean, I'll definitely try it as I try all new games. Yeah. I hope I like it. We'll see.
I mean, seriously, Arxis, get Plus R out here in America already, okay, so we can start getting on that game, and then building... Because the thing is, a lot of people... the Guilty Gear community is kind of at this weird point. A lot of people are like, you know what? Guilty Gear Xrd sounds cool, maybe I'll play it, but, you know, maybe I'll learn on the current version, but you know what? The current version's not the current version. I'm going to wait till Plus R comes out before I start picking up Guilty Gear again. So just release the damn game so we can start playing and try to build the Guilty Gear scene back up to, you know, its former glory. Because, I mean, as much as a non-mainstream game as it was in the past, the Guilty Gear community was probably one of the largest, you know, minor communities that there ever was. So.
I feel like all of my friends played that game.
Right, exactly. The game.
I don't know how that happened,
awesome.
but like literally all the people I hang out with, mostly they played it.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, a bunch of us when we were playing Injustice, it was mostly there to play Guilty Gear, so a bunch of people were playing Guilty Gear as well.
Okay.
Choi Sauce was here, Sanchez was here.
Okay.
And he plays Slayer, and I hate Slayer, so
okay.
I'm mad. But,
okay. I mean, there was a pretty good tournament this weekend. I heard at UFGT.
Jaime was here. He's rocking it with Venom and stuff. Oh, this game's so good. Anyways, okay, you can pick next topic.
What do you think about Seth as final boss in Divekick?
What was his gimmicks like?
He is made out of gimmicks.
Really?
He teleports. He has
geez.
I don't know. Keats is in here. Let's see. Does he have a double jump? I think he does.
Okay.
Like I don't know, man. It's
only thing that I can think right now is that
I only played him a couple times. So a parry is the other one. Yeah,
he has a parry. Oh
yeah.
wow! So he can parry dive kicks.
Yes.
And then what happened?
I never saw it happen. I never saw anybody do it, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, to be honest with you, like when I saw that Seth was the final
so
boss.
he can double jump, but is invisible and invincible while doing so. He can parry and he can teleport above your head.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay,
anyway.
So I get the joke, right? So we have all these community guys in the game.
Yeah.
And Seth was the boss in Street Fighter 4. So, let's make Seth... I don't know. Like, Keats, I love the game to death, but I just feel like there's too many community people in the game.
Really?
Like, honestly, yeah. Like, I don't know, because we
I mean, Capcom already made this joke. This is just, like, riffing on Capcom's joke.
To be honest with you, like,
I think it's funny.
If there was, like, I love Mark to death. If there was no Mark Man, I wouldn't be so, like, oh, okay, here we go again. You know what I mean? But I think when we had Mr. N and then Jafali was a really cool concept, right? And then Markman jumped in there, and then Seth Killian jumped in there. Like I said, if there was no Markman, I think it would have worked a little bit better.
So I played the characters. Stream is crazy. The dives.
Yeah.
That was pretty tough to get used to.
Mm-hmm.
I played
You know what it made me think of?
Huh?
Street Fighter EX Dhalsim Super Drill in the...
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was like the exact same thing. You can guide it. It felt like the exact same thing.
Okay.
In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if that was a reference point for Keats in any case. So
Could be.
Anyways,
I mean, I don't know. I played with and against Markman, and I don't like it. I just think it's too weird. Like, I feel like it's just out of place in that game. Nobody else has any projectiles. Like, he has all these things that you gotta... Dude, the black hole one, it's just like, you just go down because it's in the black hole. You just until you kick. It's just weird. Like, I'm totally down with the movement differences in characters, like all the weirdnesses. Teleport's fine, I don't care, but like...
Everyone keeps saying that it's just that I'm jealous that I'm not in the game.
Baz doesn't really have projectiles, though, Keats. That's his kick.
Dude, I do...
That's the hitting part of his kick, is what I should say.
I mean, I don't want to be in the game, and now this will probably make Keats want to put me in the game, but I could probably prevent him from doing so. But in any case, that's not what it is, to be honest. Like, I felt like the ability to... Like, I really liked when he was creating characters like Dr. Scholl's and stuff like that were kind of riffing on existing, fighting game characters, with creative characters. Like, I just didn't like putting in all the people in our community, because I think it kind of takes the game and starts turning it too much of an inside joke. Like, the game is kind of designed to appeal to a lot of people because it's simple to play, and now it's like, it's for everyone, but no one will get like half the jokes in it. Which seems kind of odd to me.
I guess I understand what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't know if that'll have any like negative impact on sales or anything.
Okay.
I just didn't like how Markman played. Right. But I like how all the other characters play. And by the way, Keats told me that he thinks that S-Kill is not like a top tier character in that game. But then a bunch of people I played with, or I talked with after they played the game, said that character is really broken. So we'll see
a
what
lot of characters
happens.
start that way, right? Like Dr. Scholl's felt really broken, but once you figure her strategy out, it actually gets a lot better. So I think it'll just be some time before people get used to it. So,
well, let's take another break, and when we come back, let's talk about whatever controversies and stuff.
Okay, all right, be right back.
Oh, hey, welcome back to the Tuesday show, episode not sure.
Yeah. It's been a while. But a lot of people are trying to tell me, like, I'm making it sound like Guilty Gear is dead right now, and that's not the case at all. A lot of new people are getting into it and such because it has such a reputation for being a strong game. So there are a lot of people playing it. There was like 40-some entrants at UFGT, so it's, I mean, there is some, I don't know what it is about that game. There's something about that game that once you start playing it, it sinks in. Like, something about that game just feels good when you play it.
That's
like,
cool.
It just,
I respect
it
that.
flows. So, you know, I can totally see a lot of people getting into it and just, you know, getting sucked into it. So
definitely, yeah. I mean, I know a ton of people like it, so that's awesome. Yeah. So what's been happening with some controversy and stuff?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, a lot of people have been complaining about UFGT as a tournament just because they didn't have quite as good of an experience. A lot of issues going on there. Namely, like, some players, like, I know Fnatic has been upset with it. Flash Metroid was really upset with the tournament. And, you know, I listened a little bit to their stream and listened to them about some of the stuff they complained about.
Oh, you are made of steel. Let's go on.
But, you know, it's just, you know, one thing that I would like to address, the main thing I would like to address, honestly, there's all sorts of things. There's a lot of he said, she said stuff going on in this tournament, and I don't want to get into that. The one main thing I do want to address is Flash Metroid complaining about, there was one point in time where two AGE members had to play each other in top 8, and then the winner had to go play another AGE top member.
That's true. In Street Fighter 4, that did happen.
Yeah, so seriously, like, top 8. They had 3 AGE members in top 8. You can't just, like, there's nothing to complain. It's top 8.
It's in loser's side even.
Dude, you cannot
which means that
prevent
it's just not playable.
And not only that, but I do want to address something. Flash Metroid did say that you can avoid that with proper seeding, right? And that is 100% false.
Yes.
I just want to get that out there to Peter right now, that is 100% wrong. The reason why that's wrong is because if you lose in winner's bracket side, depending on the round, it alternates whether you jump to the top half of the bracket or the lower half of the bracket. Because if you're in the upper half of the bracket and you lose in the winner's bracket and they always send you into loser's bracket, everyone's going to double jeopardy down there. If they always send you to the same side of the bracket, everyone's going to double jeopardy there. So first round, you stay in the same side. Next round in winner bracket, you get sent to the other side. Next round, you get sent back to the top.
I actually didn't know that, but okay, cool.
Yeah, you get sent to the bottom. So it splits you guys up to prevent them, to keep it double jeopardy, to prevent as much double jeopardy as possible.
Okay.
So if you seed 2 AGE members apart from each other, and they play, and then one loses this round and gets sent to the bottom half, and this guy wins and gets to the next round, if he loses, he's getting sent to the same half of the bracket. And so that's why they're going to run into each other in the loser's bracket. You cannot prevent that from happening no matter how much you seed. The only way you can prevent it is if you reseed, and I am of the personal stance that no one should ever reseed a tournament. Like, that should just never happen. So if if the tournament comes out the way it happens, that 2 AGE members play each other and the winner plays an AGE member, that's the way the cards fell. Next time, don't lose in that particular order, so you end up in the different sides. So
there was an important couple of words in that sentence.
Yeah.
Could you?
Don't lose.
Oh yeah, that's the one. Okay, all right.
So I just want to get that part out there. You cannot prevent that from happening, no matter how much you try to seed. Okay, soapbox done.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that. I mean, that's pretty much.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, if you have 3 people up in in top 8, and you're running into each other, dude, how many times have we seen Justin and Flo run into each other like before top 8, like for top 9, or just early in the bracket? It's happened a lot, and they don't say anything because they know that it's just going to happen. I mean, let's face it. AGE has a very powerful team.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
The fact that you can get 3 people in a top 8 in a tournament like that, you know, it's your guys' fault for being that good. That's just how it comes down to it. If you're complaining that you have 3 guys and they all run into each other in top 8, you are basically like complaining, like, I have too much money. I don't know where to put it all. You know, the bank won't let me put as much money as I want into it. I mean, seriously, it's like, come on. No, I don't want to hear anyone complaining about playing teammates, seeding, this kind of stuff, especially in top 8. I just don't want to hear it anymore because it is a complete moot point. No one should ever complain about that. You know what I mean? And plus another thing is, no, I don't care. We have sponsors now. Dude, I don't care. This is not a team sport.
This is awesome because I don't have to add anything. I totally agree with you. So continue.
This is a single person sport. If Ricky and Justin are on the same team and you split them apart, that's unfair to everybody else that Ricky and Justin don't have the likelihood of accidentally running into each other and eliminating each other. So in other words, who's on your team can help you advance in the tournament if you purposely reseed to avoid teammate fighting teammate. That's just completely dumb because this is an individual sport, not a team sport. So if you're going to run into your teammates, you beat your teammates, you shake their hands, and you go on, and that's the way it goes.
If there are 2 teammates, like say with AGE, Wolfcrone and Saber, they don't live anywhere near each other. One's in Michigan and one's in Arizona.
Right.
If you're EG and you have Justin and Flo and they live together, then I understand, putting them apart because I don't want people to have to play people that they play all the time in real life. So seed in part by region, right? But if you're in Arizona and Detroit, or in New York City, or in wherever there are people, Northern California, then it just doesn't. It's not going to factor in.
Yeah.
And you just have to understand that it's not an important thing to anybody but to you. That's it. Nobody else cares.
Yeah.
It's completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
So any discussion about seeding based on that should just be shut down.
Yeah, I have never heard Serena and Venus Williams complain that they had to play each other early in a bracket. It's just the way the chips fall. It's just the way the cookie crumbles, the ball bounces, however you want to say it. It's just how it runs. And, it's like I said, it's your fault for not staying in the winner's bracket the whole entire time and not losing. Because if you did that, then yeah, you would. If you were seeded early on, then for sure you would be in the right spots. But if you lose at any point in time, anything can happen. So.
Then there was some controversy about the way that pools and times were run. That is to say, you had to be on time. They wanted you to check in 15 minutes early. You had to be there on time, and if you weren't there, there were DQs. And actually, I was there when they were giving instructions to the staff the night before, and the staff got like a little prize for running a pool on time.
Right. Okay.
I thought to myself that was a genius move. Don't you think that that's so smart?
I actually disagree with that.
Really?
Yeah.
I felt like that was such a good idea. You're rewarding people who typically don't get any reward at all. They get the short end of the stick every single time.
For sure.
And B, you're incentivizing the quicker finish of pools.
Yeah, that's the part that I'm a little that I don't agree with.
Really?
Because I feel like every pool is going to be a different circumstance. that there is a chance that a pool might have to run long.
So, I mean, they also had a couple of situations where people asked questions as the staff was being told what the rules were. And they came up with a couple of different ways for, like, what if this happens? Like, then we'll have to go long. And Keats and Max were like, yeah, okay, like, if that happens, like, we'll, no big deal. Like, we'll still give you the prize. Like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
So, like, that, I don't think that that's the issue. I think the issue is that they wanted to make sure that the people were doing everything that they could to make sure that the pools ran on time. Not that they were expected to make everything happen perfectly, because that just doesn't happen sometimes. So
yeah, but to be honest with you, there should be no incentive given for running. I mean, if you're going to want to reward people for running pools, just reward them. Just straight up reward them.
Well, that would be great too, and I definitely advocate that.
Yeah, but I don't think giving them an incentive like, oh, if you do it correctly or if you do it on time, right? It's not finishing faster than anyone, as Keats mentioned, right? It's if you finish on time.
Yeah, it was like they had 2-hour blocks and they expected that it would take like an hour and 15 minutes. So
yeah, so I just don't agree with that in general, because it puts an extra factor into the minds of the people running the tournament, right? As a pool judge, you should have no motivation in your head outside of doing what you can for a tournament to run well. But if you have any judge thinking, man, I really want to get this done on time so I can get my gift card or whatever like that, that taints the tournament. Because it adds an extra factor that's completely outside of the realm of the tournament.
How does it taint it?
Because he might...
Like, what are you worried about, I guess?
Like, just for example, just like, if something happens, like, a lot of people are like, oh, you can't leave this particular area, like, stay here, do this, whatever, you know what I mean? It's just like, some people may interpret... You don't know how the judge is going to interpret this information, you know what I mean? You could have a judge turn into a completely tyrannical person because he really wants that gift card. You know what I mean? It's a factor that just shouldn't even be there. It's just. I
totally disagree. And they ran the pools on time in a way that rarely happens in fighting game tournaments. So
yeah, but I mean, like Evo, for example, runs its pools on times. There's no incentivizing there. It's just it's organized properly.
I mean, that's great. But I like that they make sure. So.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
Then there was some crap about, let's see, I guess Flash wasn't happy that, like, the way that he checked in for top 8 or something, like, he didn't like it or something.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't care. But.
This is definitely, tournament organizers at the same time do, while they do have all the power when they run their own event, I mean, I think, who was it? I think Chris G actually stated this, or, which is actually a really good point, too. It's just that, as a tournament organizer, you have to be very agreeable, and you have to be willing to listen to people, even if you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they're wrong, right? And, I felt like, I heard some of the things that Flash said, and, I mean, Flash is not, I mean, let's put it this way. Fnatic has given himself a reputation now, right? Fnatic has a reputation. Flash, he doesn't have a reputation for being someone who complains a lot or anything like that.
As far as I know, I had noticed it before. But.
Yeah, so, I mean...
But I don't know. I don't know how GG went or whatever.
I just feel like, it's one of those things that, if someone has something to complain about, it's better overall just to talk to them and listen to them and try not to be too power trippy. I guess that's just the best way that I can put it. So, without trying to make people mad. So. Okay.
I mean, I definitely don't agree. Feel like they need to be on time and follow the rules that are set.
Right.
And if there's any... I don't see why there should be discussion on top of that. Let me put it like that.
I guess the best way to put it was that, Flash's claim was that he was on time and everything was fine. But it was just that he didn't officially check in, even though he was 10 feet away from the guy that he needed to check in with.
He hadn't checked in?
Well, he checked in at 12, and they told him that it wasn't going to start till 12:30. So he checked in at 12:30, and they said 12:35. So he went and got a drink and came back. And then apparently Keats told him that he still hadn't checked in yet, even though he had been there a couple of times already beforehand. That was the story from his end. So.
All right, I mean, whatever. You got to check in again. Like, why is that even an issue?
Yeah, and see, again, this is all like hearsay again, because now, you know, Keats is saying that's a lie and stuff like that. So
yeah, I mean, he wrote this whole thing that people are now copying. You guys can quit that because I saw that. And I mean, if you want to narrate that, you can be my guest.
I mean, I can if people want me to. I started. I can't.
Oh, is it going up and down too much? Yeah. Shut up, everybody, please.
Yeah, I can't do that. So.
Basically, his side is that he gave the players an extra 12 minutes. So he started it a few minutes late, which was his fault. So I gave the players an extra 12 minutes to come check in 12 minutes later. Flash was missing, so I called one last time on the mic. I saw him halfway down the ballroom. I said, Flash, get up here and check in or be DQ'd, and he flipped me off. And I said, do you want to go to losers? He flipped me off again. Then he checked in. And then the rest is not very important for the purposes of me. So.
I mean, I think that's the biggest problem right now, right? I mean, it's just the he said, she said kind of thing. And
I mean, yeah, look, I don't know. I also just don't care. Like, you got to check in. I mean, if the person who's running the show says you got to check in, just do it. It's not even an issue. Like, I have a difficulty expressing how little I care about this, or how little I give any credence at all to that position.
I'm not taking anybody's word over anybody else's. Like I said, this is the problem. This is just what everybody's saying, right? So now here's the problem: is like if people are telling me that that's not what happened, then that means somebody's lying, right? So if all these people, like, this is the worst thing about it. Is like now everybody has their own version of the story. And that's what makes this whole thing really stupid. That's what makes this whole thing really frustrating, because everyone's going to be able to skew it to the way that they wanted to. So, I mean, apparently everyone says that Flash is lying. All right, so I will just have to take everybody's word for it here. Flash is lying then, you know, and that's, I mean, is just that how it needs to work? So, you know, like...
I had a bunch of opportunities to talk with a lot of the people involved in this at UFGT 9, because I see them and I'm friends with them and hang out with them on both sides. And I could have totally asked them about this stuff and been like, what was your position and why? And I thought about doing that, but in my head I was like, but I just don't care what the answers are going to be. It just doesn't make any difference. Like, you just got to be... Here, if you go to a tournament and you're a pro gamer, it's your job. Sometimes people have to do things at their job.
Yeah, I mean, that's
I don't care.
That's the worst thing about it. It's like I don't know. It's like the whole thing is just like... I guess for me, what it comes down to is just like, it's just frustrating to me that this is even happening in the first place. Like, this shouldn't even be an issue.
It shouldn't be an issue, like, I know.
And I just feel like a lot of it is happening because we have a lot of, you know, stubborn-headed people here, right? A lot of people.
I mean, in anything.
You know, and I'm always an advocate for being very diplomatic and for being very friendly and for being, you know, yes, okay, you're in charge. You have the rules set and everything like that. But, you know, there's a rule in business: the customer is always right? That's obviously not actually the case, but that's just a strong business etiquette, right? And the hardest part is if you don't treat it that way, you have to treat your tournament when you're running it. You actually have to, you know, you have to treat it like a business.
Well, I agree with that.
You know, and so in that situation, that's what you got to do. You know what I mean? Now, in other words, if something like this is happening, you've got to figure out a way to not make it blow up. You know what I mean? You got to figure out a way to not make it worse than it already is, to stop fueling the fire. You know what I mean? And I just feel like there are ways to do that. And this didn't have to happen. You know, you don't have to have, like, Fnatic and Flash going off and yelling at people and stuff like that. None of this had to happen if people could just try to talk to each other and work things out a little bit better.
I mean, as far as Fnatic goes, like he's had weird things to say about tournaments that are run by very different people. Keats is very different from Li Joe. Is very different from Kaneda, right? All different people. But there have been issues. So I don't know that it's the style of tournament that's run. I don't know what the issue is. I really am not sure. But I don't think that that's it. I do think that tournaments should be run with an eye to business. And if I were running a business as a tournament, I would make sure that I was being as consistent as possible. I think that that is maybe not the number one thing, but it's up there as far as running a successful business and tournament business. And I would demand that if I asked for one person to check in, the second and third have to as well. Like, if you don't, then you're breaking the rules that 1 and 2 had to abide by.
Right, but did he not check in?
Well, I don't know.
That was the story that he told. So obviously, if I watch the stream archives, I can see that he's going to be clearly lying, right? So
maybe I have no idea.
That's the way it goes.
But that's what I would do. I would treat it as if it were a business and make demands on people and expect them to meet them. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, look, I hate drama, right? I just hate it when these kind of things happen. And, I'd prefer it if people could handle it in a situation where this kind of stuff didn't have to happen. That's all I'm just trying to do.
Hey, having no conflict is always the best. Well, maybe not always, but usually the best. But that's not realistic.
Yeah, it's not realistic.
There's going to be conflict.
Yeah.
So in cases of conflict, again, I want consistency. Right. That's the thing that I'm most concerned about when it comes to conflict. So.
Okay.
Let's see. There was some other crap at ECT. PR Rog gave up to Filipino Champ. Remember that?
I didn't see that match.
Oh, you didn't see that match? It was as clear as day.
Okay, I didn't. Yeah. I have no idea. I missed most of ECT.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I missed most.
Actually, I did too. Now that I think about it. Yeah, I was in Washington D.C. How did I even see that match? I don't know. I guess I must have seen it at some point. I mean, I forget where I was at the time, but clearly gave up because. Not only was the match itself super obvious, but then right after that was Filipino Champ versus Chris G, where Filipino Champ tried out this new tech that he had, the new team.
Right, and I still haven't seen any of that yet either.
Oh, I recommend it.
I haven't even seen the. Is it up on YouTube? I tried finding it on YouTube. I couldn't find it.
I
could not find any of the ECT matches.
Okay, so. I mean, I don't know, but hopefully it will be up.
Everybody told me that it was out, and I went and looked for it, and I couldn't find it.
Okay, so. Well, I definitely recommend seeing it because the team that Filipino Champ used was really interesting, and maybe we could talk about that someday on an episode of one of these shows that we do, because it was a really cool match. But the way that they got there was via obvious match throwing, so I thought that sucked. And I was happy as I was to see Filipino Champ against Chris G. It was very interesting. I still didn't want to see them throw the match. It still is it still bugs me. So.
I mean, here's the question though. I mean, where does the repercussions lie?
As far as I know, there aren't any.
Because obviously it wasn't an EG throwing to EG.
Right.
So can EG punish PR Rog for throwing to...
Why not?
I
mean, I don't know what their contract is.
Something like that going to happen? So
almost certainly no.
Right.
I don't know what the contract is like or what powers they have with respect to one of their team members. So I don't know. I will say in public. But as far as what the consequences are going to be, probably nothing. It seems like nothing yet. Right? I don't know. So, but I thought that sucked, as always. All right. Just follow the rules, man. It's a tournament. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not saying that the tournament shouldn't be run with rules or whatever like that, but it's just, I mean, a lot of people are really getting on my case about this, about what I'm talking about here. Like I said, I'm just trying to advocate, trying not to push buttons is all it is. You know what I mean? If there's a way that you can avoid certain things, and yes, conflict needs to happen sometimes, every once in a while, but if there's a way to avoid it, and like I said, I mean, I don't know Flash's history. I don't know if he's had a history of conflict constantly. You know, I mean, that's what's surprising to me was that Flash got in this. I don't know if he's.
I was surprised too.
I don't know if he's being poisoned by Fnatic. Maybe that's just what it is. You know what I mean? So.
Who knows?
But we'll see. We'll see.
You want to take a break and we can come back? I'd kind of like to talk about the discussion that people were having on Twitter today about top players getting paid more and like just there being more money in the fighting game community.
Sure. No
Okay,
problem.
we'll be back with that in a bit.
All right.
Okay, I feel like this is something that we need to deal with rather than trying to put it off or to not directly deal with the breaking of rules and the like.
Right.
Like I just want to talk about it. I'm not trying to be a dick. I have been friends with the people involved on both sides and hope to remain that. But I mean, that doesn't mean that I can't say that they're wrong. Like sometimes I'll call up friends, or I'll call up, or I will get called up by friends, and they'll be like, "Hey, guess what? You did something that was dumb," and I'll be like, "You did something that was dumb." You know, like it happens.
No, I mean,
like
that's the thing is, like, a lot of people are sitting here thinking I'm trying to defend Flash or Fnatic or whatever like that. But even after Final Round, when Fnatic did that stuff, I went up and talked to him and told him that he shouldn't have done some of the stuff that he did, and I complained to him about it. I guess my problem right now is I'm just trying to be friends with everybody, and that's always the hardest part, right?
That's tough. That's always tough.
That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not saying Keats did anything wrong. In fact, he has every right to do what he did. But I just feel like that there's different ways to do what you do. You know what I mean? So in other words, like a lot of people are saying like, oh, we can't go esports because then, you know, if the fighting game community will lose its personality if we can't swear or whatever, if we can't use our coarse language or whatever like that. That's not true at all. We can completely retain our personality without having need to do that stuff. There are many ways to do the same thing. You know what I mean? True. And so I just felt like, you know, if there was a way we could do this so that it avoids this kind of drama, because this drama just doesn't look good on anybody. That's all I'm just trying to say, right? And having this drama happen the way it did, I don't know if it's going to fix anything. Is anything going to be better in the next tournament because of the drama happened the way it did? I
would expect more positive results after having talked about this and tell people that they're wrong than if everybody had involved had just kind of not really dealt with the situation.
Right.
I would expect that. And I would expect that next year at UFGT that maybe people will not, I don't know, do whatever crap. Hopefully they won't at other tournaments either. So that's why I want to have the talk. That's why I want to tell people that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the thing is, like, I'm hoping people learn from this. I hope people can start understanding this and respecting tournament organizers more, respecting their events more, being on time, checking in, following the rules. I hope that that's what happens. But right now, that's not what I see happening. You know what I mean? Because the problem is, I'm seeing a lot of people siding with the AGE guys, which I don't think is right.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. People take sides and have their favorites.
Like I said, I just feel like that. I'm so worried. I guess I'm just super nervous because, you know, we're in this position right now where I feel like our community is just kind of in this very fragile point. Like, we built up something pretty big, but can people hear? Can people hear? Can people hear?
So here's the thing. I don't know how to explain this. What happened? Something with your computer?
So basically, this weekend when everybody was here, we were trying to test one of those AverMedia thing.
Okay.
Capture device, and we were trying to set up a bunch of stream stations, so they unplugged my laptop because I wasn't using it at the time.
Okay.
But it was on sleep, so it died. It drained all its batteries down to 0%. So I've been streaming on 5% battery, and all the streaming stuff, all the processing, and all the video rendering and all that stuff like that uses more power than it can charge. Like
that's so crazy to me.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb, but you know, so we lasted for a while. And it eventually finished draining. But now I'm back up to like 6%, which is what I started at. So
okay, that gave us a good hour.
Yeah, so hopefully we should be able to do this. So, yeah.
Yeah, that gave us like an hour, and we don't have an hour of stuff to talk about at this point.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't even know what we're going to say now. What were we talking about?
Well,
you said that you were afraid of something.
I was afraid of something.
Yeah.
And it's heights. I'm really scared of heights.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I have acrophobia, so it's just like really, really frightening.
The only thing that happens to me with heights, like, say I'm at the Grand Canyon, I don't walk to the edge, but I'll, like, crawl on my knees to the edge.
See, I can't.
Is that weird?
I can't
don't know if
even
that's
do
weird.
that. I can't even do that.
No?
So I can't do this.
But I'd love to go on that thing where, like, they built, like, this big see-through bridge over the Grand Canyon.
Oh, you did that?
No, I'd love to do it.
Dude, I don't know if I can.
When I went to what used to be the Sears Tower, now Willis Tower in Chicago, they built this thing that, like, extends over the abyss a little bit, and it's, like, all glass or some kind of see-through material. You can walk out onto the see-through material. Totally did it. It was awesome.
Dude, there's like this one.
It's like 1,400 feet below me of air.
There's this Indian casino in like Inland Empire area and the 909 area that just due to the walkway to the casino, part of the floor is just these glass blocks that you can see through, and it's like maybe 2 or 3 stories up, right? So when you walk over it, the floor is really far down there.
Okay.
Freaks me out.
Really?
Like I can walk
2 or 3
across
stories?
it. Yeah, but it freaks me out.
Like 20 feet. That's livable. You would
yeah,
live.
I know.
Probably.
I would break my legs. But,
You wouldn't have a good time.
You know,
but...
I mean, we could ask Smooth Viper about that one, right? So, I mean, he lived. So, but yeah, I'm definitely just scared of heights. So.
Somebody wants to know my reaction to Beowulf. Oh, the character.
Yeah.
Totally was going to go on a whole thing about the story.
I thought we talked about that, didn't we, or no?
Probably. Actually, I'm reading this thing called the Graphic Canon now, where it's like this compilation of all sorts of old world literature, even up to modern times. That's like redone in comic form.
Oh, really?
And part of it is Beowulf. It's really good.
Nice.
I recommend.
Okay, cool,
recommend.
Cool. Okay. Yes.
Anyway, what are we talking about? Oh yeah, Skullgirls. Beowulf won, right?
Yes.
I'm remembering that correctly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I'm down with that.
Happy.
I'm down with that.
Super happy. Dude, Beatrice and Beowulf could not have. I mean, I obviously I wanted Stanley in there, but whatever, dude. Those 2 characters are awesome to have in there, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I am very happy about that. Do you not remember what you were talking about now?
No, I do remember what I was talking about. No, I just look. I know. I try very hard to be friends with everybody, and it's a fault. It's definitely a fault. But the problem is, I just feel like the FGC has kind of reached this weird breaking point right now. We're at that point where we've ran up the hill, we've reached the top of it, we have no more energy left, and we're just going to roll down the mountain at top speed. And we're either going to roll down the back and end up where we started, or we're going to roll down the front and advance and get further and actually have our scene grow. And all this dumb drama that keeps coming up right now, I feel like is hurting us and pushing us back to roll down backwards. And so I would like to try to avoid it as much as possible. You know, a lot of people out there have not invested as much time in the FGC as I have, right? So a lot of people are like, well, whatever. If you roll down back to the beginning, whatever. We'll just push it back up. And, dude, by the time we get back to the top of that mountain, I'll be like 90 years old. So, honestly, like, I just really would love to see, how I want to keep going forward. And it's really frustrating for me to see all this stuff happening, and trust me, it's like, I'm not for what AGE did. In fact, I think what they did was wrong. I'm really mad at them for what they did. I just wish there was a way that it could have been handled so that it didn't have to be so public like this. You know what I mean? And the worst thing about it is, the more public it gets, the more fuel gets added to the fire so that they run their own streams. And then they sit there and they're like, oh, this is what happened, and, Keats is a jerk or whatever like that. And then Keats has to go out and defend himself for no reason, for running a tournament on time and running a well-run tournament. And it's just like, you get all these things, you start creating these factions, and I just don't feel like it helps. I just don't feel like it helps at all. And, that's what I'm afraid of. That's the part that makes me worried. And so I'm not sitting here trying to defend anybody. I guess what I'm just trying to do is just trying to figure out a way to make it so that this didn't have to happen. And I'm trying to make it so that it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? So,
well, I don't think it's a big deal. Like I said, I don't really care about it. But I more don't care about the perspective that people shouldn't be didn't need to be there and didn't need to follow the rules. That's what I don't care about.
Right.
But I mean, here it is. Like, it's an issue, and we have to talk about it. In my opinion, I feel like we cannot not talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think that it's better if we do. And I mean, you just can't always be nice. Unfortunately, sometimes you have to tell people that they're doing the wrong thing. Sometimes you have to be confrontational to some degree, and you don't need to be mean about it. You don't need to unnecessarily start drama. You can definitely be friends with somebody and tell them that they're screwing up. Mm-hmm. I've definitely done that and had that done to me. I don't know how many times. I mean, it's just that's something that happens. So
I'm having that happen to me a lot right now on stream.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I guess It's just it's frustrating for me to see this happening.
I don't think that there's any risk that any of this would make us go back down the mountain or whatever the metaphor was.
Go back down the wrong side of the mountain.
Okay, I see.
Wrong side of the mountain. So
one of my favorite politicians, Barney Frank, he was being interviewed by somebody, and they were trying to liken something that they didn't like to a spider web. And this whole spider web, and like the way that they described the situation, like if it's a spider web, then like whatever Barney Frank was proposing was a bad idea, and it was like the way that they worded it was actually very interesting. And so Barney Frank was just like, I don't need to deal with metaphors. Like he took the metaphor off the table.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I would like to do here.
Yeah.
I just take them at like, if we're framing it as there's a mountain and like here we are and it's like which side we go off of, then that sucks. But it's not like that, in my opinion. I feel just that we're figuring stuff out. I mean, we are still growing. Things are changing. There are new things that are getting bigger that have been around, but now are getting bigger, like sponsorships, and people are figuring out how to deal with it.
Right.
That's all. I don't think that any part of it would or could serve to set us back in some way or like really change what we're going to do. That is to say, any part of this conversation that we're having right now. I think, look, if Fnatic doesn't show up to the next tournament, nobody's going to... That's of consequence to nobody but Fnatic. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, it doesn't matter, really. I mean, I'd like him to show up. I'd like hanging out with him, but, like, that's all. And same with Flash. Nobody's going to, like, remember. Nobody's going to be like, oh, man, the tournament, but this player wasn't there. Nobody's going to...
Yeah.
So, like, it just doesn't really matter that much to where we're working to get and how we're working to get there, in my opinion. I don't feel like it's like some drastic thing.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, just kind of doing the whole, James Chen tells a story thing. One of Wizard's favorite stories to tell was one year we were running Third Strike and we got to semifinals bracket, and a whole bunch of people were playing. Justin and Ricky had to play each other in the bracket, and a bunch of people had to play each other, but there was a lot of good matches going up on stage. And Wizard had to go take the U-Haul truck back or something like that, or had to deliver it back or something. And so he said, here, James, run this bracket. Get the semifinals bracket done, right? And so he drives off. And when he comes back, like, the bracket has barely moved. And he's like, what the hell just happened? I was like, well, I tried to run Justin and Ricky, but they said they wanted to watch this match that was going on the stage. And Wizard's like, really? And he grabs the bracket and he's like, you guys are playing your match. And Justin and Ricky are like, but we want to watch this. He's like, all right, I'm DQing you guys. And they're like, okay, we'll play. So, I mean, dude, it's been a problem of mine forever. So, that's just... I guess that's just... I mean, like I said, I'm trying to please everyone a little too much, obviously.
I mean, I understand that perspective.
I
do.
So.
I used to be there. I used to think that way when I was a younger man, but... not really anymore. People want us to point out that not everybody on EGE is anything weird. Totally true.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to... If I said anything that seemed like it painted that broad of a stroke, I don't. I take it back. I didn't mean anything like that. So.
Yeah. obviously. I mean, guys like Romance. I love the fact that Romance gets to go to all these tournaments and basically destroy everybody in King of Fighters right now. I think that's fantastic. You know, I'm super happy for Saber to get out there and blow people up in Cross Tekken.
Yeah, Wolfgrown traveling a little bit more now.
I'm actually really sad that Snake Eyes and Vance haven't been able to get out to as many tournaments, you know. But there's a lot of great people on that team, for sure.
Definitely, man.
So, you know, yeah, man, I don't know. Like, maybe we're... you know, it's just frustrating to me. It's just really frustrating to me. So, but I guess that's just how that's just how I function.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny too, because I mean, without going to too much psychology, like growing up, I was completely the opposite. Like I just.
Oh, we've done a little switch here.
Yeah.
Interesting.
When I grew up,
I have two. I've done the switch, but in the opposite way.
Yeah. When I grew up, I shitted on everybody. I just like didn't care about anybody except myself, frankly. And needless to say, I was not a very popular person. So I think I did I think we both kind of did the switch in opposite directions. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my profession kind of demands it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Got to be a douche sometimes.
So,
So yeah, anything else to talk about? I feel like we're missing something, but we've covered everything that I wrote down. I just can't. I feel like there's something else that I wanted to talk about, and I don't remember what.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the Injustice patches and stuff like that, you know, and just the characters and the fact that I've been playing it and I really enjoy the game.
Oh, no. Here, I'd like to talk about that too, but I also wanted to talk about this. The conversation that started today about top players.
That's right.
Right. Trying to get more, figuring out how they could do that. I mean, that's a conversation that has come up many, many times, but a little bit different today because people were being kind of reasonable about it, which was, I thought, a good change. Did you read any of that? Did you follow that?
I read a little bit of it, yeah, here and there. Not too much, but I read whatever got retweeted onto my timeline. So,
okay.
Yeah, basically.
All right. So, I mean, what do you think about, you know, what people can do to get there? First of all, okay, so a few things. What do we mean when we say players should get paid more? Who should get paid more?
See, this is the thing. This is the problem right now.
Like who are players when you say players?
But see, I mean, I don't agree with that sentiment, though. That's the problem, right? So, yes, players should get paid more. But to be honest with you, it's not players that need to get paid more. It's the community needs to get paid more. Our entire community needs to get paid more. We have so many different factions, right? We have the TOs. And, dude, these TOs are basically killing themselves financially and physically and mentally running these tournaments. I mean, look at all the crap that Keats has had to deal with now, right? I mean, why does he even want to run these tournaments? Like, why is this even beneficial to him in any way, shape, or form? If this is what he has to deal with.
Because of the hundreds of thousands of dollars he gets from it, duh.
Dude, even Lap Chi was saying the same thing, right? He was like, do I really want to do Canada Cup again? And people convinced him, and now Canada Cup sounds like it's going to be pretty awesome this year. But, you know, it's just like, why are they doing these things, right? So here's the thing, right? The TOs, right, have a lot of this. The streamers. Let's talk about the streamers. Let's talk about Armando here, killing himself. Basically, streaming like 9 days a week, right? I mean, he streams more days than there are days in the week, it feels like, right? Talk about Spooky and what he's doing, and then he just goes to all subscriber, and then people get mad at him. Now they're like, oh, Spooky sold out. And it's just like, it's ridiculous, you know what I mean? So they're in the problems, commentators, right? Like, just from our perspective, right? I mean, I'm not going to a lot of these events because I just can't afford to keep going to all these events, and I just don't have enough vacation time, right? So it's a burden on us as well. And then the players, they should deserve to get more for the accomplishments that they're obtaining, because this is not easy stuff. This is true talent on display. They deserve to be compensated. But the problem with it is a lot of the people who are being loud about it are the players right now. Because when you see everything out there, it's always the players who do make the most money. So it feels like that they should get a lot of the money, right? In order for our industry, for our scene to grow, I feel like everybody needs to start making money at the same time. And everybody needs to understand that. So no particular group is more greedy than the others. And there's a very strong give and take thing. The players have to go, you know what? Okay, so the tournament organizers aren't making $1 billion. Because everyone out there is throwing out rumors that these guys are making a crap ton of money, and they're not, right? And so once everyone kind of comes to this agreement that everybody, you know, everybody needs to work together to get everybody more money, that's the proper way to grow, in my opinion.
I was talking with one tournament organizer about how much money he made from a tournament, and it was like maybe a few $1,000s, and I was like, how much is that? If you view that as the money that you earn in a weekend, awesome. If you view that as the amount of money that you make for the amount of time that you put in, it's a little bit different story. And I was like, what if you were to estimate how many hours this took you, and then, you know, what was your rate? What'd you earn like per hour?
Right.
You'd be like, you know, $5, $6. That's a lot, and it's just not a money making way to go about doing things. Like some tournaments I know make a little bit more than that. Some make way less than that. Way into the negative, as you know. So that's the range. Very slight profit or giant negative.
Yeah.
That's where they operate. As far as commentators go,
we have it the easiest, to be honest with you, because we're the ones that don't have to spend as much time as a lot of these other people, right?
We don't put in the hours during the week. That's true.
Right. And then we don't have to sit here and practice a lot. You know what I mean? We're not sitting here like constant. I mean, if it was my job, I would.
Oh, sure.
You know, but we can get away with it more than anybody else.
Yeah. I mean, on the other hand, like, I lost a couple $1,000 last year in fighting game related events. Like, we got paid sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes
we didn't get paid. Most of the time we just got like money back from travel and hotel and whatever. But if I get my travel reimbursed, I still have to eat and drink and stuff. I'm a human being.
Hey, I just did my finances I've just been like neglecting it.
Oh, okay.
And I just did my finances for like the past 3 months, and it's like it was pretty gruesome. I'm not gonna lie.
It is.
It was pretty gruesome. I'm not.
It
gonna
is.
lie.
So would I like to not be in the negative for providing significant service to tournaments many weeks out of the year? Yeah, that'd be great. I would appreciate that. I feel like the people who do the best in this situation are the players, as you were saying.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I do want them to make more money because that would just... I mean, I would want my friends to be better taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean...
Because they don't earn that much, that's for sure. Even the players who win everything really don't. It's not like they're making that much money in reality. That is, compared to non-gaming occupations. They're not making that much money. So, I mean, look, I'd like for them to make money, but I feel like the things that I would prioritize are like people who run tournaments, people who run brackets. I feel like that's the biggest priority in terms of who I want to make more money. But I want everybody to. So anyway, what do you want to do about that? Having everybody make more money.
Well, first of all, we need to start avoiding stupid drama, stupid useless drama, right? Because who wants to be involved in stupid useless drama, right?
Yeah, I mean, that would be great.
If we can have...
Sometimes you can't, but...
Yeah, but if we can have the players out there... I mean, again, you know, I've heard this sentiment before. Players saying, like, well, I don't want to clean up my act because then I'm not myself or whatever. Like, you can totally be yourself, and you don't have to, like, swear all day up and down and everything. I mean, I always say the best example is inside the NBA, right? Charles Barkley is Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley is not being anybody but Charles Barkley on that show, right?
For sure.
But he is not, you know, going around being like, oh, you know, I'm going to go and, like, I have to clean myself up. And, you know what I mean? He's still being himself.
Yeah.
Everybody on that show is being himself. That's why it's my favorite sports show, right? So, that's absolutely possible. And we need our players to do that. And a lot of them need to recognize that.
I think that one of the best things that we have going for us is the interesting nature of a lot of the players. Like, we have some drama's fine. Like, that's totally cool. That gets interest. You know, some like colorful personalities. That's a great thing.
That's a different kind of drama, right? That's good drama. I'm talking about.
I know. But to have colorful personalities and keep them, that's good. That's like a significant difference between fighting games and the other competitive games out there. So that's something that I would love to emphasize and I don't think needs to go away. But I'll tell you what does need to go away, and that's not showing up on time. It's making an obvious drop of a match, or fixing a match is the word I'm looking for. Match fixing needs to go away. Like the same people who are wondering today how they can get paid more have been guilty of a lot of the things that make it likely that they wouldn't get paid more.
Right.
So I mean that's something that they have to grapple with, and I guess I hope that they do. I feel like that's one of the major things that they can do. People were talking about like building brands and stuff as a player, and that is definitely important. Mm-hmm. I feel like some groups have totally missed the boat for whatever reason. Like I've talked to you about what I think about Team EG before, right?
Right.
Like you have like the fun-loving dude from Puerto Rico. You have like the Midwest white guy. You have like the
Bashi streamer, right?
Yeah. Like he's really funny. He has like very animated face, and like doesn't do that as well as he should. So like you want to root for him. Then you have like the you know kind of the guy the Chinese guy from New York City. You have like the hilariously effeminate guy. Like he's like very proud of himself. Like you just have like these very interesting personalities, and I never see that get sold. If I were EG, I would have done my best to market the fact that I have these very different people who are all really interesting and really good at the games. But you just don't have that for whatever reason.
It's weird. I mean, a lot of people talk... Okay, so here's a great example, right? So, a lot of people argue, for example, yourself included, that hockey is the best sport out there, right?
I do love hockey.
Yeah, hockey is a great game. Very good team game. Very solid game, right? And it has a lot of stuff. So what happens is you market hockey in a specific way, right? But the thing about like basketball, I love basketball, right? You market this game based on the players because you can see them a lot more. They're not all stuffed up in gear and everything like that.
Right.
And a star player can dominate a little bit more on a team, right? This is a really good way to kind of look at it. So you have all these esports teams. They have all these players who play games like League of Legends, and their personalities, I mean, obviously there's a few people who stand out, right? But for the most part, I feel like they get kind of lost.
I just don't know. I mean, I certainly can't talk about things like StarCraft or Dota or shooters. Right. I just don't know anything about that. But yeah, I mean, there are some players in League who are pretty interesting, but it's...
Regardless of how interesting their players are, fighting game players, I'm not saying this because I'm trying to be a proud fighting game person. I'm just saying fighting game players are just supremely, like, interesting guys. You know what I mean? They're great personalities.
Yeah.
So I just feel like people just don't know how to market them properly. You know what I mean? Because they're not used to that, taking advantage of that aspect of them.
I hear you on the basketball versus hockey analogy. Mm-hmm. Hockey is my favorite sport, but I certainly understand that part of the reason why basketball is more popular is because you can sell the people a little easier.
Mm-hmm. I mean, jersey sales, right? Like, look how crazy that gets.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even just that you can sell them more easily. It's that the culture in the NBA is to be much more... It's more of like a fighting game style approach in the culture. It's much more like open and like crazy, and like you focus on a person rather than a team. And
right.
Very rarely does that happen in hockey. It's much more team based. In fact, there's this very strong culture in hockey against making too much out of one person. So
right, and it's really interesting because Fishtix is mentioning this on stream. He's saying like a lot of the players don't know how to market themselves, and that's definitely true. Very, very true.
That is true.
They have a lot of problems with that, but. You look at like a player like Allen Iverson. You think that guy knows how to market himself?
Yeah.
He got a little bit of training, I'm sure, because everybody has to. But in the
end,
the NBA and the Philadelphia 76ers marketed Allen Iverson a lot more than Allen Iverson marketed himself. You know what I mean? Allen Iverson markets himself by just being awesome at the game. You know what I mean? And look at that whole practice thing that he did, right? I mean... That wasn't media savvy at all, right? So,
right. But yeah, so there needs to be some of that. None of them have figured it out. And on top of that, there isn't enough money involved already for people who are good at thinking about that to come in and figure it out for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. I mean, at some point, if they do want to get paid more, they're going to have to, I think, start figuring it out, or convince somebody who is talented in marketing to just join them for whatever reason, and then kind of work on it. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, back to the original question, how do
Yeah.
we get it so the players can make more money?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, the way you do that is by getting sponsors interested. And the way you get sponsors interested is you have to convince them that they can get something back.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right? And that's the problem. A lot of the players just want the money, but they can't figure out how to give stuff back to them. And you're going to do that by, you know, being visible, being promotable, being a personality, you know. God knows how much money Papa John's made this last week.
Probably a lot.
Yeah, right? I mean, that's the kind of things that you have to do in order to get, you know, the scene bigger and people paid more. That's the sad truth, right? So...
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know what to do to help them get more money. Like I said, it's not my number one focus.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like it if they got more. But I guess I would focus more on having more people involved in the first place, more people playing specifically. Mm-hmm. But then as far as who I want to get paid more, I mean, I would have tournament organizers and people who run tournaments as...
See, I don't even pick a number one. I want everybody at the same time.
Okay,
in fact,
fair enough.
Interestingly enough, I don't have a number one, but I don't know. Like, it sounds kind of weird for me to say this, but I would put commentators at the bottom, probably, in a weird way.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely used to feel that way, but enough people have told me now that they think that commentators are an important part of it that...
Really?
I mean, I still kind of don't feel that way, but... I hear people send me messages on that like all the time. So.
I would only believe that just because, like I said, when I was listening to you and Ski Sonic this weekend, I was like super hype, even though I was only listening to it. So I can see that because it was the first time that I really felt like the stuff that you guys were talking about was really helping me picture it really well. So, but yeah, I mean, for me, to be honest with you, tournament organizers, streamers, players, three most important. I would want them to get paid the most. But it needs to be an equal thing because the tournament organizers, like I said, the amount of stuff that they have to go through and the stuff that they have to deal with is ridiculous, and they're not making any money. I don't want anybody out there to even believe that tournament organizers are making a ton of money at all. So
yeah, they're not. Like I don't really understand why people think that. I don't know. What else are we talking about? Anything?
Like I said, I want to mention Injustice, but I don't know if Hanzo's already started the show that sucks.
Oh yeah. Let's not blow that up. Let's keep that one. Let's keep that one going. So.
Guys, definitely jump over there. I mean, I will just say one thing about Injustice. I mean, how do you feel about it? Same thing with MK, that they keep patching it, that they're going to patch it.
I'm happier that the patches are less significant than with MK, and that they're only doing a few characters at a time and not everybody.
Right. And patch notes came out.
And patch notes,
yeah. Yeah. And last thing that I will, what did they say? The show that sucks did start. Okay, so last thing I just want to say is that NetherRealms really needs to, as a programmer / QA person, when bugs show up in your previous game, please put that in your test cases for the next game, because the major bugs that showed up in the most recent patch existed in MK9. The Joker Red Hood costume did not have the changes, and the Batgirl with a normal move bug that Cyrax had was there too. So yeah, so
I hadn't thought about that, but that's a good point.
Put it in your test cases.
Yeah,
just as a software engineer giving advice. So okay.
All right, so
but I love Injustice right now. I just want to say that much, dude. I've been playing the hell out of that game. Yeah. I haven't played a game. I played that game online like maybe 7 days out of the last like 10 nights.
Wow.
I'm not even joking. I am not even joking. I've been playing that.
You're gonna blow me up when we start playing.
I've been playing the hell out of that game. So, and it was actually really cool when P. Gorath came and played, because I learned a lot. Like, okay, this is really different than online, and so yeah, it was really cool playing it. So I really like the game so far. I really like the game.
Okay, so anyway, the show that sucks is on right now. Apparently, that's at twitch.tv/teamspook. /iPlayWinner. Twitch.tv/iPlayWinner. Go check it out, please. As for us, we're going to sign off. Hope you enjoyed whatever we talked about tonight. I already don't remember.
All right. Peace out, guys. Dissolving to black. Ha.